Well, good evening, everyone. It's 5:15, and I'd like to call the July 23rd, 2026 work session of the Staunton City Council to order. Would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the work session and regular meeting agendas?
So good evening, Mayor Edwards.
Evening, Councilor Woods.
I move to approve the work session and regular meeting agendas as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Overholtzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell. Aye. Mr. Shepherd.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blair. On to item 2, we have an update on Blue Ridge Community College. Ms. Beauregard.
Hey, Dr. John Downey is here with us this evening to provide an update on, I think, all the great things happening at Blue Ridge Community College. Welcome, Dr. Downey.
Thank you so much. Thank you, members of the City Council, for the opportunity to be here.
Good evening.
I'm really pleased to provide a brief update on Blue Ridge Community College and all that's happening. As you know, Blue Ridge transforms the lives of the students we serve, and in turn supports the economic development of both the city and the region by developing the workforce of the Valley. We are grateful for your ongoing support. I'll start with this interesting statistic. According to the Higher Educational National Clearinghouse data, of all the Staunton residents who attended college this past year, 41% of them chose Blue Ridge Community College as their post-secondary option. That's more city residents than all of the other local colleges combined. I want to thank the city staff who support us so well whenever we have a question or a need. It's wonderful to work with Leslie whenever I need something, or very responsive. I also work closely with your economic development staff, Amanda DeMeo and Jessica Blythe, who are exceptional to work with. I appreciate the partnerships we've been able to build over the years for the benefit of the city and regional businesses. You've also been so kind to appoint outstanding board members for our local college board. Board members Tony Davenport and Janet Ewing are here tonight, and really appreciate them being here and representing the city of Staunton. They do a great job advising me, supporting the state board for community colleges on academic and administrative matters, and just really great board members, so I'm appreciative. I'd also like to thank Superintendent Eric Irizarry for the partnerships we've developed with Staunton City Public Schools. We continue to offer exceptional dual enrollment opportunities for city high school students. Our career coaching program is well thought of in the high school, and we continue to see a large percentage of Staunton high school graduates attending Blue Ridge as their first choice for post-secondary higher education. We also work together to bring some unique workforce partnerships to the school, allowing seniors to earn a marketable credential prior to graduation that helps them prepare for the workforce. I provided each of you with packets of information for you to review at your leisure. The packets include our annual report, our fast fact sheet, our community link newsletter, and other handouts that highlight the college's success in helping students achieve a better life for themselves and a better community for us all. I do want to point out, I hope that city residents are aware that starting last year, students in the high school, juniors and seniors, can earn up to 30 credits of higher education, the whole first year of education, absolutely free of charge, no charge to the school division, no charge to families. So that's just a wonderful opportunity. And they can apply those credits toward a university coming to Blue Ridge to finish their second year, or they can go on in one of our career and technical programs that right now are growing considerably. In particular, call to mind the aviation maintenance program. It's a program that is in high demand in economic development circles. So we're doubling the size of that program this year. We also started an agriculture program where we're trying to emphasize agricultural education in particular so that FFA organizations can thrive in the local high schools. If there's additional ways you can think of that Blue Ridge Community College can support the work you're doing in the city, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. And thanks you for all you do to support our mission. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
What are your enrollment trends for the last 5 years, say?
So coming out of COVID, there was quite a decline in all of higher education, and we're now back to exceeding pre-COVID numbers. So we've had enrollment growth for the last 5 years, 2 to 5%, depending on the year. And I'm seeing most of that enrollment growth in career and technical education. People may not understand, we get the same amount of funding whether a student does aviation maintenance or history. And so it's the history students that pay for the aviation maintenance program. Now, I will say the General Assembly has been particularly kind to Blue Ridge Community College. We had funding to develop a truck driving range on our campus that is now open and serving the needs of the region. And also the aviation program, we just in this past General Assembly got a considerable increase in allocation so that we can double the size of that program and perhaps do some distance learning in that program that will allow us to offer that program like in Roanoke and other regions as the need arises.
How is AI affecting your curriculum, the way you teach, how you prepare people for careers?
What a great question. I think our faculty are struggling with the dichotomy of, are we concerned about cheating while our business community at the same time is saying we need them to learn this? So we're trying to figure that out. I think every higher ed institution is trying to figure it out, is where do you draw the line? What aspects of AI do you teach students, and what aspects of ethics do you teach students to make sure that they're not misusing AI? It's a struggle because we're behind. I mean, I think it's changing so rapidly. I teach one section of social psychology, and it's a new course for me this year. And so I'm developing PowerPoints and things. And I asked AI to put pictures on every slide. It took my 50 slides and boiled them down to 15. And I mean, I don't want that. I want a picture on every slide. So it doesn't listen very well sometimes. I don't know if that was because we were using the free version or whether, or I wasn't asking the right prompts. So as we're trying to struggle to learn it, we have faculty that are, exceptional at it, but, the rank and file faculty are still trying to learn it while the students in some ways are ahead of us. So it's a fascinating topic.
Mrs. Downey, I know that at one time y'all had a program where manufacturing companies came in and, paid those that wanted to learn or get employed at these particular factories in our area. And I know you don't no longer have that right now. Do you see that coming back?
Yeah, that was part of a grant we got for the pharmaceutical industry when Merck expanded the first time over in Elkton. And what the General Assembly wanted us to do is make sure that as we're paying attention to Merck, that we also paid attention to the manufacturing industry. So we started the program called Job Starter, and it was really well received. At the beginning of it, it was coming out of COVID. We weren't getting enrollment. It wasn't until the companies agreed to give each student a stipend for the 3 weeks they were in the program that then the enrollment took off. It was very successful for a while. But as the economy has come back and the need for workers is still there, but it's not as dire as it was coming out of COVID. So the companies have sort of backed off of that strategy of paying for their enrollment. It's so fascinating to me as I've looked back on my career. It's no longer tuition and fees that are the obstacle for students to participate in higher education generally. It is the living expenses. So our students, we used to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% full-time student and 50% part-time. We're now about 85% part-time student and 15% full-time because the students are working while they go to school, often 2 jobs. And so I'm one of the reasons I continue to teach is so that I can have those conversations with students and find out, what are they doing? And you've taught before. I know some of you have taught. It's really fascinating to see what our students overcome. Four-year college and university students overcome tremendous obstacles as well. But often some of them get tremendous family support, or they're not raising a family or doing some of the having some of the challenges that our students have. And so to see our students overcome those challenges and at graduation hear their child yell out, "Great job, Mom," or "Great job, Dad," it's just really rewarding.
Vice Mayor Arrowitz.
Thank you, Dr. Downey. I consider Blue Ridge and the entire community college group in the state one of the just best direct education opportunities and one of the best values as well. Not only for technical degrees, but also for 4-year direct into Virginia institutions on that. Have you seen a rise in that, or how is that
We've actually seen a decline in transfer
Have you?
enrollment, and the reason is because as the population of high school graduates dwindles, the four-year colleges are competing against us in different ways than they did in the past. So they're, in a sense, digging down deeper in the population and taking students that used to come to us,
Oh, I see.
often offering incredible financial incentives for the student to come to a four-year college. Sometimes they come back to us after they're not successful at those institutions, but what we're trying to do as a strategy, the other factor really is dual enrollment, is as the state increases free dual enrollment, there's less of a need for freshman year at all 4 and 2-year colleges. I think that many people believe that means students would graduate in 3 years. In my experience, that doesn't happen. What happens is those students tend to double major at the university or end up with a master's degree in 4 years post-secondary. So it's going to be interesting in the next decade as free dual enrollment continues to grow to see, will those students be coming to the community college? Will they be going to four-year colleges? What colleges will be able to buck the economic trends? People don't always realize how colleges are financed, and that financing really is dependent on that high school student coming and taking freshman level courses. The majors are funded at a four-year college by freshman and sophomore year.
Thank you.
Questions?
What are some of the fastest growing job areas, I guess, is reflected in the need for professional training that you're seeing? And
In our region, it's 4 areas. It's education. There's still a strong need for teachers, and there's shortage of teachers of all types. And we're focusing in particular right now of a drastic shortage in agricultural education. So that's one area. Manufacturing, still about 15 to 18% of the jobs in the local region. Third area is healthcare. Almost every hospital, every doctor's office is looking. And what's interesting about that profession, and nursing in particular, is how the profession now offers unique opportunities that 10 years ago didn't exist. My daughter graduated from VCU, became a registered nurse, worked in the hospital, but then went back and got her doctoral degree and now is a nurse practitioner and operating more like a doctor than a nurse in a practice in the Petersburg area. So those are the 3 areas we focus on the most, and manufacturing, teacher education, and healthcare. And I'm forgetting one, but yeah, those are the areas we're focusing on. A lot of social services too. We have a great pre-social work program, and a psychology program, of course.
Dr. Downey, I have a question about population of newcomers to this area,
Yeah.
but also in Rockingham and Harrisonburg, where it's a larger population. I imagine that you have a connection, of course, with MTC and also with our school, VCTC.
Yes.
I teach adults there English as a second language, and many of the students are, as you can imagine, very much wanting to better their lives. And some of them have very advanced English skills, some of them have 0 English skills. Is there a way that, yeah, I think you know where I'm going,
Yeah.
way to direct students to BRCC with the intention of getting some kind of a credential, even with a very minimal English language skill?
Yes, there is. And I think it's in the non-credit fast forward
Okay.
area. So,
Okay.
and that includes truck driving, welding, and a wide range of healthcare, which are very popular, from CNA to phlebotomy, those kind of programs. So we have a wide range of those. Those in like about 4 to 8 weeks can take somebody from poverty into the middle class, get them into the workforce, and then often once they're in the workforce, the employer will sponsor them coming back and getting. You mentioned ESL. I think there's also a barrier and a gap between what is offered at the high school level and in the technical centers in terms of ESL and starting at Blue Ridge Community College that is just very, very difficult to overcome. There's not enough population for us to offer consistent classes. We do offer classes, But
Yeah, I was referring to adults. The
Adults, yeah,
adults,
yeah,
not high
yeah.
school students, the adult
But even the
program. But
adults.
same, yeah.
Yeah, coming back and they don't have
Yeah.
quite the English skills.
Yeah.
They can go to the community and get adult education ESL, but then where they end and we start is just a big gap.
Very
And
hard.
in my experience, we haven't ever been able to fill it very well because there's just not enough, to fund it. So if we can find some way to be creative about that, I think that would really impact the local community. Tell you, everybody's desperate for good, skilled workers. And so we have to look at every population, sometimes populations we've overlooked in the past in order to help the economy and help employers
Right.
get the workforce they need.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question.
Any other questions for Dr. Downey? No, but I always enjoy your visit. It's
Oh,
always
thank you
great
for
to
the
hear
opportunity. I
about
love
it.
it.
I mean, it's such a fantastic.
Going on my 18th year
Oh, wow.
as president,
Really?
35th year at the college. So
Wonderful.
yeah, I've
Well,
been very fortunate. Yeah.
well job, well done. And
Thank you.
thank you all, board members, Ms. Ewing and Mr. Davenport, for being here and supporting our students. Thank you. all.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item 3. This is an overview of the Beverly Street demonstration project. Ms. Beauregard?
Thank you, Mayor Edwards. So Miss Susan Wilson is not here this evening. She was feeling under the weather, so it only takes 6 of us to be here for her. So Mr. Knight actually is going to do the main presentation,
Okay.
but we also have Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Hart, we have Miss Blythe and Miss DeMayo in the audience, and we have all kind of had our fingers in this, obviously, this demonstration. We've all looked at, talked about this since the demonstration was finalized last month. So in the spirit of Miss Wilson being here, we will do our best. If we have questions, I'm sure we can answer any question. Oh, Lyle's here too, Mr. Hart. I forgot about him. So I'm sure we can answer any question you have. And we have plenty of time to talk about this as well. So with that being said, I'm going to let Mr. Knight kick us off.
Cool. All right. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. We are excited to share with you the results from this. We had a lot of engagement, a lot of feedback. Anytime we would share the numbers with our cohort or kind of our technical lead, she's like, wait, what? How many people responded? So that part was really kind of exciting. It may not have been the response we had hoped for, but it was still a lot of engagement. I think that's something that we're all thankful for and honestly kind of proud of. So as a reminder, the city applied for and was selected to participate in the Virginia Department of Health's Walkability Action Institute. So I'll say that as the WAI quite a bit. With changes to Beverly coming as part of the HSIP intersection improvements, wanted to see how the street would perform with a single lane for traffic and thought this demonstration project, complete with pedestrian areas, loading zones for deliveries, would be a good way to test it out. Through participating in the VWAI program, we received technical assistance and a small grant to implement the demonstration project during the month of June. And as part of our wrap up, we wanted to share the results with you guys. So here is, sorry, I have some meticulous notes, so I'm trying to follow along. This is a timeline kind of going back to when we first got the grant. I think Susan applied for it late in December. And with this, it was a demonstration project, so it was a quick timeline, approved in the beginning of January, and we were participating in a kickoff event within a couple weeks. Continued to be part of the VWAI cohort until the end of September, but the visible side of this demonstration project is complete, and of course that wrapped up at the end of June. So on here, you can see the major touch points throughout the project, including outreach with police and fire and adjacent businesses during March and April. We conducted 2 surveys as part of the project, one before everything was installed, and that ran until June 1st, basically until the demonstration was in, and the other one started on June 2nd when the project was in place. The Bike Ped Committee worked with us during May to build and paint the 16 benches that we had for the project, and they were also on site daily during June, watering plants to make sure that everything still looked nice and we could keep our flowers alive during the very hot month. So some of the before implementation outreach and input, During April, we visited businesses on both sides of the street in the project area, providing them with information about the demonstration, including a link to the project webpage. So we just want to make sure that the project webpage was up, ready to go. The survey was ready before we started handing out that flyer you see on the screen. The pre-project survey was open for a little over 7 weeks. And from that one alone, before there's a single delineator out there, we received over 400 responses. We asked people about their experience walking along Beverly Street, what they find the most challenging, if it's lighting, limited seating, fast vehicles, narrow sidewalks, unsafe crossings, nothing, or if they thought it was perfectly fine. Based on the features, if any, they selected, we asked them to provide comments and indicate where they might like to see some of the features they wanted. Some highlights from it: 60% of respondents said they walk on Beverly Street weekly or daily. Common feedback: respondents would like to see more places to sit and rest, reported narrower feeling sidewalks during busy periods, and they were concerned about pedestrian crossings needing improvement. The top of many requests were planters and greenery at 61%, seating just over 50%, public art at just over 40%, and more walking room at 41%. And additional feedback, some of the kind of takeaways for us to think about a little bit more before the implementation. The big one was deliveries and loading operations for our businesses. Not to say we hadn't thought about it, but it was just kind of a good reminder to be like, all right, let's think a little bit deeper on this. So our next few slides here, you can see some of the construction of the actual benches. And again, we had some tremendous support from the Bike and Ped Committee. So that was wonderful, assembling and painting there. And then our installation of the project started on June 1st. So when the project was put in and then when it was removed, Public Works was able to piggyback on Shop and Dine Out. So they took advantage of the fact that the road was already closed going into Monday morning. And that was when they were able to put everything in that you see here in these pictures. Let me see here. And on that note, you see all these delineators. Would like to point out that not a single one was knocked down or damaged throughout the entire month. These posts were installed about 3 feet inside the skip line, so inside that dash line that separates the travel lane. So it actually gave drivers more space for their lane than they typically have. The posts were spaced about 6 feet apart, which gave people plenty of room to navigate and not feel enclosed, but also still informing drivers that the lane itself was blocked off. We also set up temporary traffic control at the end of the block immediately before the project area to alert drivers of the change and shift them to the left. And I have to give a shout out to Public Works, especially the streets crew. Ricky, you can see over there installing some things. They were wonderful. They were quick. They were efficient. And when we asked them for their help, they said, when, how many people do we need? How do we get there? Let's do it. So it's just really, really nice to have that support. A few of the project elements, you can see the delineator posts there, the white ones that are separating the space from the travel lane, had benches, flower-filled planters, evergreens, artificial turf, bike parking on each block, and information signs there with the QR code in a hope to get people who had a chance to engage with the space to take the survey. We also had a 60-foot loading and unloading zone that was signed for active deliveries only on each block to encourage turnover of the space. And at the start of each block, we also had a concrete barrier you see there in that right picture just to increase the visibility and the safety of the start of the space. Here's just a few other pretty pictures for you. You can see the turf there. And of course, when you look at this, it is temporary pieces. And I think that was one of the things that we just wanted to try and continue to hit over and over. The bike racks getting used. Again, they're at the end of each block, and there's another one of the signs. And this was a picture I took on June 2nd. So just people who I guess it was officially the second day it was in place, the flowers were in place, and just got their ice cream and got a chance to sit over there and enjoy it. So when I went over to take their picture, and they were like, "Well, we'll get up." It's like, no, please, we want you to sit down. That's what this is all about. And it was nice to see that. We also had an artist who helped paint some of the benches. You can see one of them right there, local artist, the one he's using as for his paint and buckets, but he also came to the site to paint as well. So let's dive into some of the data. Some speed estimates. Perform some informal speed estimates that showed the project acted pretty well to calm and slow vehicles. The average speed we noted was approximately 21 miles per hour when vehicles were not present in the delivery zone. If there was someone in the delivery zone, that speed dropped down closer to about 13 miles per hour. So just a little bit more narrow. Another vehicle on the side just encouraged people to slow down even more. One of the pieces of feedback that we heard quite a bit was that people don't really use Beverly Street during the week. And as somebody who's down there quite a bit, I didn't think that was true, but we wanted to get some actual numbers. So this here is the number of people observed midday on a weekday. And this is from June 25th, so the last Thursday of the project. And during a 1 hour period, right around lunchtime, noted 226 pedestrians on the block just between Augusta and New Streets. Also used this time to point out one of the things that we noticed during the project was people crossing Beverly Street mid-block. I think more so than when there are 2 lanes of traffic. I think it's probably because with only 1 lane to cross and the shorter crossing distance, people just felt more comfortable crossing where they had the shortest path. Obviously, the number of cars at 111, bikes, strollers, mobility devices, and again, that's all within that 12:35 to 1:35 time period. So when did we get our feedback? These are our project website interactions. So the project page went live on April 10th, and we did this with the PDC. They have a vendor who has a really nice engagement tool that they use for a bunch of their projects. So they actually hosted this for us as a way to get and gather feedback. Went live on April 10th, and that was the first day that we also went out to start talking to some of the businesses. So they immediately had that QR code and access to the survey. This graphic shows the interactions we had with people had with the webpage, and from the very beginning, the 2 biggest spikes coincide with the press releases that we pushed out with the project. The first one on April 27th, announcing that it was coming, and then that second one on June 4th, basically once we had everything in place and really wanted people to hopefully have a chance to get down there and start giving us some feedback. The last jump in site visits at the end of June was around the time of the last city council meeting. And the shorter lines that kind of hover underneath and really mirror the big lines, those are the actual survey participants. So the tall lines are who went to the website, and then the smaller lines show the actual surveys taken. So now, as far as those surveys taken, what was the feedback? So that top bluish gray color, those are people who really opposed it. In the gray, which is very slim, is neutral. In yellow, people who had concerns, and in green, people who supported it. We had nearly 1,100 responses to this second survey. The graph shows the daily responses over the course of the month. And the city's press release, again, was issued on June 4th. It was widely shared on social media. So I think that's clearly why we had that spike. That is the day that we received the most survey responses, and it was a Thursday. And that was the 4th day that the project was actually in place. So you can see a very large number of responses just on day 4. So project support. This, I think, is probably one of the more interesting things, and maybe what you would guess, but still interesting to see the numbers there, showing the support for the project as it relates to those who actually experienced it. For those that didn't visit, that top bar, 85% opposed the project and wanted to see the lane return to traffic. Only 2% of that group said they were in favor of it and would want to see something similar or permanent. On the other hand, those that lingered or sat down in the space were more in favor of something permanent and less likely to oppose it. So we kind of go and didn't visit, somebody who had a chance to walk through it in that middle row, and then that bottom one is people who actually experienced it and spent some time there. So you can just kind of see how the support grows with people who had a chance to get in there. And maybe that makes sense. People who are willing to go and sit down might have been in favor of it to begin with, but still, I think it's telling that once you saw it and experienced it, maybe you're a little bit more likely to think something like that could work. And this is a very similar one. So that was basically if you supported it. This is folks who reported how comfortable they felt. If you didn't visit, turns out 84% said you didn't feel comfortable in the space. Let me see here. 60% said that they felt comfortable there if they spent some time, and while only 40% were uncomfortable. So there was less comfort with the space from survey respondents that only walked through. And again, for people who didn't experience it or didn't go, they did not feel comfortable. No, this one's a lengthy one, so I apologize. I try not to read, but here, this is essentially the top reason from respondents as to what they disliked, why they didn't think it was a good idea. Going through the survey comments, put together this graph to try and clean it up a little bit. Traffic backups were mentioned the most, with the general comment being that traffic backups and bottlenecks in the project area were being caused by there being only one travel lane. Safety was the second most mentioned topic, and the general comment was just that the project was unsafe and that vehicles and pedestrians were in conflict. And loss of parking was mentioned frequently. However, the project didn't remove any of the on-street parking spaces anywhere along Beverly. There were also concerns about maintenance and upkeep, even including the winter weather, but this was always planned to just be a 1-month temporary project with temporary materials, so that really wasn't a consideration for us. And on the topics of safety and emergency access, we heard a lot about that, and understandably, rightfully so. We stayed in communication with both police and the fire department for the duration of the project, and just wanted to make sure we were hearing feedback from them. And the fire department said when this wrapped up, they regularly encounter constrained travel paths throughout the city and routinely adjust their response routes based on the conditions encountered during emergency responses. Throughout the demonstration project, they did not experience any significant delays in emergency response. They did make operational adjustments during periods of heavy traffic and when certain parking spaces were occupied. They went on to say that they already adapt response routes during shop and dine out weekends and when portions of West Beverly Street are closed. And will continue to make similar operational adjustments if needed going forward. And then from police, they said there were no known issues for the police department during the project, and there were also no calls for service related to traffic issues in that area. A couple of the other little ones, delivery disruption. There were a lot of comments about the aesthetics, the character, that it wasn't historical enough. Anecdotally, the lady who cuts my hair told me, well, if you didn't use those Lego blocks, this would have worked. So I do think there maybe some lessons learned there as far as the color. We were hoping vibrant and exciting would draw people in. I think for a lot of people, that was maybe an immediate, this isn't going to work. That was, I think, some good feedback for us to hear. As far as who liked it, and again, this is the total number here is smaller, even though the blocks are the same size as our red. But of those that supported it, the most common thing was we want something more permanent or bigger. People also responded that adding space made navigating easier, including with children, strollers, wheelchairs. Other responses noted that they liked the additional seating and that it made Beverly Street a destination and that the landscaping was a really nice addition to the street. See if there's any others to call. I can leave that one up for a second if you want to. But yeah, just the outdoor destination, that it became a place to go rather than just walk through. Families and mobility enjoyed it, and just wanting to see it permanent. So to wrap up, this is from Susan, and I think a lot of us can echo. We're proud to have pulled off the city's very first demonstration project, and I think honestly, looking back, that's one of my takeaways, is just that we've never done a demonstration project, and maybe even that name in itself was unclear, that this was a 30-day temporary project. Comments and responses we received from the project survey are similar to the sentiment and spirit of a lot of the comments that you probably saw on Facebook about the project. And that overall sentiment was that people did not like it. But it showed us that there is a lot of community interest in improvements and changes we make in the city. The project also showed us that Beverly Street could handle the amount of traffic it receives if there was just a single lane for cars, and people feel more comfortable crossing the street when there is just a single lane and cars are going slower. Thank you guys for letting us provide the update and continuing to engage with the community throughout the project. We'll publicly share, or it's already posted, the results. This slideshow is already online and the raw survey data is online as well. You can see all 1,100 comments. And next month, we'll be coming back to you with an update on the HSIP, the Intersection Improvement Project for downtown. If you have any questions, happy to try and answer what we can. And I can move back to any slides too.
Counselors, we have questions for Mr. Knight. Thank you. That was a wonderful presentation, Josh.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks for jumping in. I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and start then. No, go ahead, Mr. Overholzer. Go ahead. No, really.
So I just applaud staff's initiative and creativity in doing this demonstration project, getting the funding. I think it's always good to think big, try new things, get public feedback. it is important that we sort of pay attention to the lessons learned about this. One of the areas for me was not only in the data that you've shared here, some of which we're still absorbing, it's kind of fresh, but the emails that we receive, some of the contacts from businesses, the social media and so forth, is the importance of being really thoughtful, thinking about who the stakeholders are for a project like this. Who is this going to impact and how and why? And who do we need to consult with? Who do we need to inform about a project like this? Maybe some are hard to anticipate. It was interesting to see that the challenges with postal mail delivery, I wouldn't have anticipated that sort of challenge, but the businesses, commercial deliveries, the U.S. Postal Service deliveries. So those are some of the stakeholders. So we need to be really thoughtful about this. And I think success of any permanent changes especially are going to depend on a well-planned program to engage those stakeholders and to get buy-in, especially from the downtown businesses. Another thing I wanted to note was there's sort of a disconnect between the efforts that you described with the brochures, things to inform businesses before the project, and some of the feedback that we got afterwards saying that the city sort of made a perfunctory effort to inform us that it was happening, but not really engage with us and maybe ask questions about, do you understand this? What are your concerns or questions about it? I think there were pretty substantive emails that we got with concerns with businesses saying, you really didn't think this through in terms of how it's going to affect our business and our deliveries. And I wish, you had talked to us more in a more substantive way beforehand. So I think, again, I applaud the effort. It's just considerations that we need to have in execution and being really mindful and thinking thoroughly about stakeholders and engaging them really carefully and thoroughly beforehand.
Yeah, along those lines with stakeholders and the demonstration project was a great way to try it out. Just to get a visual on it, say, well, what if it did look like this? And obviously with the people that were saying, gosh, it looks like you made this out of pallets. We're kind of missing the point a little bit on that. But I mean, we don't go it alone by design in Stanton. Our specific partners are the Stanton Downtown Development Association for that, which works directly with the businesses in the defined Main Street area with that, and also the Historic Stanton Foundation. And part of this going forward would be us making sure that this matches the historic district streetscape that was adopted by this council. It hasn't been renewed and updated, in a little while, just because it was kind of set already. So any of the appearance of that has to match that because we adopted that. The previous council did. So anything moving forward, we just want to be sure that they are definitely full partners in that too.
Because once we have a chance to fully explain it, they understand it. I mean, they can be an advocate for the project as well, not just relying on the city. And even, I mean, you all did a valiant effort of trying to explain it, but just the number of business owners and people I talked to that still had the perception that this might be the final product was staggering. I don't know how to fix that, but I do have a couple of observations just from this data from the quick that I'd like to share. Can you go back, Josh, to, I think 2 slides back? No, one more. So this is interesting, and this kind of supports the whole purpose of this. We roughly have 42 feet between our building faces on Beverly Street, our main street. And right now we dedicate about 2/3 of that space to the automobile. Here, it's the complete opposite of who the users are. This might not be the peak hour of the day from a vehicle standpoint, but I bet the midday is close to it. So the fact that it's the complete opposite of who's actually using the corridor, I think should go a long way in determining, I mean, in my opinion, this supports what we're trying to do here in terms of make it more inviting for the pedestrian, safer for the pedestrian. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm also, it's great that we had 8 bikes in 1 hour through downtown. And then the other one was, it's just interesting on the concerns, it's just interesting that safety rose that way when the whole project behind this demonstration grant is focused on improving safety for everyone, the vehicular travelers and pedestrians. And I must have ridden up the corridor, down the corridor, I don't know, at least 40 times during the month. And I never once experienced a traffic backup for more than about 10 seconds of someone parallel parking, which is typical in any downtown where you have two-way traffic and you're waiting for someone to parallel park. There's nowhere for you to go. So I don't necessarily agree.
Or
with
attempted
that
parallel
backup.
parking.
But no, just want to thank all the staff this was a big lift, and it's always great to get this much feedback regardless of what the feedback is, just something to learn from and to move forward with.
Agreed. It's always great to give something a try, and it was valiant. Mr. Rhodes watering those flowers in the heat, watering the flowers and plants, and all the work everyone did. So thank you.
Don't ever put green carpet down.
You know,
Wait a minute.
All right. Any other
It was
questions?
also
Oh, sorry.
good
Go
to
ahead.
see some of those
Counselor Woods.
businesses helping out.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
a
Yes.
couple of those businesses
That-
down there helped out with the watering of the plants.
Oh,
And
nice.
they liked it because, like when the close for downtown on the weekend, they had a suggestion of moving the white poles, right? So that they can have space where they can put their tables and chairs out during, the weekend. So that was so I think when they saw that this could be done, something like this was possible, they kind of liked it. But, the businesses was definitely disagreeable on how they are getting their deliveries. And that was their main concern about deliveries. So overall, I mean, that foot traffic downtown, I can agree with that during that time because I'm downtown most of the time. And the backup wasn't as much as people put on to be because, if you get one, okay, somebody's taking a picture, but this was maybe just one incident, right? We never could see the whole picture, but that foot traffic is because the pedestrians, not just the pedestrians that live here in Staunton, but also those that do, they park somewhere else, right? So they walked and have that opportunity to come downtown. So overall, it was half and half. But the other thing I agree with them, that it could have been pushed out more, that this was a demonstration more than this is what we're going to do.
right.
Yeah, so.
And I think looking back, it was tricky to kind of tie and untie these two projects together because this one kind of made sense to try because of the intersection improvement project, but they really are two very different things, and one has funding and one does not. So it's kind of that I think for us looking back, there may have been smarter ways to separate them, but still show the connective tissue between them. That's kind of
Right.
We learn as we go.
yeah.
Thank you. Mr. I'm
the-
sorry, Counselor Shepherd.
Part of the bump outs, those are, I think it's a brilliant idea. I really do. It needs to be fine tuned, but like Counselor Wood said, when I drive through downtown Staunton, I tend to see more pedestrians at the corners waiting to cross the street than I see cars waiting to get through the intersections. And they're always looking up for some identifying mark to tell them when they're supposed to cross the street.
Right.
And that's really what this is about, is telling pedestrians when it's safe to cross. I mean, that's really the purpose of the assignment. The bump outs is a plus. That's an added value to the entire project. It's really about pedestrian safety. But I was sitting here looking at all this information compiled, and I remember when Staunton made Augusta Street 2 ways. It used to be a 1-way street, and that did not go over particularly well, or the Big Dig. And I was thinking what city council chambers looked like in 1902 when we took horses off the road and put automobiles. What kind of controversy that must have been, and the pros and cons of that. So the thing that really, the reported comfort and discomfort, what interested me the most was that 84%, 178 people that responded never came downtown and experienced the installation. So I take that statistic with a bit of a grain of salt. But this is very, very valuable information. I appreciate everyone's hard work in compiling this.
On that note, did we collect any data that indicate and give us an idea of how many of the people that said they did not visit are city residents?
There are IP addresses attached to the responses, but it's kind of dicey to try and really separate them. So I don't think there was really any effort made to try. And at the same time, I don't want anyone to think we don't care what people from not in the city think too. So we started down that path briefly. And it was like, maybe there's not a whole lot of value here, but it is something that's in the data.
All right. Any more questions and comments? Thank you so much, Mr. Knight, and to all the staff that worked so hard on this. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Barker. We're going to move on to item 4, our final item of tonight's work session, and it is a closed meeting. Would a member of council like to make a motion to enter a closed meeting?
Mayor Edwards.
Yes, Counselor Woods.
I move to enter a closed meeting for discussion of the performance of the Stanton City Manager pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 and 2, the discussion of the disposition of publicly held real property located on West Johnson Street, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position of the city of Stanton pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711 and 3.
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor Woods. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It is. Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We are now in closed session. See you all back here at 7 p.m. Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the July 23rd, 2026 regular meeting of the Stanton City Council to order. Please stand as you are able and join me.
Mayor Edwards, we need to come out of closed.
We need to come out of closed session if you'll hold on.
So Madam Mayor, I move
Stay
that-
seated. I'll entertain a motion to reconvene in an open meeting.
I move that council reconvene in an open meeting and certify to the best of each member's knowledge that only lawfully exempted public business matters were discussed and that only public business matters as identified in the closed meeting motion were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting.
Thank you, Counselor Oberholzer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The Stanton City Council work session is adjourned, and we are now in our regular meeting. And please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, it's nice to see so many people here this evening. I'm glad you're here. Our invocation comes to us from Councilor Arrowood. I'm so sorry, Vice Mayor Arrowood.
Oh, no.
Mistake number 2.
That down and
Nobody's
Yeah.
counting.
counts. All
I am-
right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This evening, I wanted to take a moment to remember Mayor Frank Friedman of Lexington, who passed suddenly earlier this month. I think Mr. Friedman was someone who was extremely involved in this community in Lexington. Just kind of person who was community minded and never met a stranger, and I was happy to count myself as a friend. And he'll be greatly missed. He passed suddenly. He was age 60s. His wife Melissa and his family. So I wanted to just take a moment of silence to in his honor. Thank you. He'll be missed.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Arrowood. Moving on to my mayor's report, I was happy to begin as council liaison to the SDDA, the Stanton Downtown Development Association, this week. And aside from learning about the work of the organization and how it supports downtown businesses, I found that I can download an app or go online and sign up for the newsletter or get text to get updates on all of the fun things that are happening every week downtown. And you can also see the Tiny Town Rundown. That's a video by Scotty Tiernan, and it's a fantastic weekly advertisement of what's happening. Last thing I'll say about it, you can look at see what restaurants and coffee shops are dog friendly, if that is something that interests you. Also, this is very important. I started volunteering over at the Cooling Center at the Faith Lutheran Church. And it's a place that allows folks who don't have air conditioning or who are unhoused can go and cool down, get some snacks, get cleaned up, just be with other folks, play games. It's a very important part of the community right now, but it's very, very difficult to find volunteers. So if you are inclined and have 2 hours a week or more, simply email the Staunton Cooling Shelter at gmail.com, and Mary will send you the sign-up sheet. That's Staunton Cooling Shelter at gmail.com. I think they're saying about 10 or so folks a day coming in. So please think about that. I had a library advisory board meeting last week, and it's the Talking Book Center. I say this frequently, the Talking Book Center, which is a wonderful service for people with reading difficulties and who have sight disabilities and need non-standard print material can go and get free Braille books and all kinds of other books online. They are looking for people to participate on their board. That center is housed on the third floor of our library. So if you're interested in that, please let me know or go online and find the Talking Book Center. Friends of the Library Terrace Project is almost finished. If you've been going by the library, you'll see the big green poles. You'll see the terraces and the holding walls. And soon the 700-pound sail, the cloth sail will arrive and it will be up. And the opening day, the ribbon cutting for the Terrace Project is August 15th. The Friends of the Library is a nonprofit that supports the needs of the library, also looking for volunteers. So if you want to come out and see that, that will be available soon. And lastly, I want to give a big shout out to all the departments and agencies and businesses who participated in the Family Fun Day at Elizabeth Miller Gardens yesterday. I saw Dr. Irizarry there, and but he was talking to Mrs. Venable, so I did not disturb him while he was doing that. There at Elizabeth Miller Gardens, there was a DJ, a magician, Batman crafts, snow cones, a big water slide. Fire department showed up. Police officers were there. Lowe's and Home Depot were there doing projects with kids. In short, it was just a huge fun day for families and community partners. So it was just terrific. I was happy to be able to go. Other members of council have any items to share? Sorry, I may have taken all the airtime.
Well, say I attended the ribbon cutting for the new Columbia Gas facility, the first non-commercial space in Stanton Crossing this morning. Was also there for the groundbreaking on it, so things have changed a lot from that muddy morning. But it's just a great modern facility, complete change from their one downtown. Great to see that out there.
Terrific, thank you. I think some staff were there too. Thank you for being there for that, for representing the city. All righty, we are moving on to the consent agenda, item A. Per procedure memorandum number 14, it is the policy of City Council to have routine, non-controversial items placed on a consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be voted on in one motion. If separate discussion of an item is requested by any member of council, it shall be removed and considered separately at the end of the regular meeting agenda. Do any council members wish to remove any items to be placed at the end of the regular meeting agenda for separate consideration? Hearing no such request, is there a motion? to
Madam Mayor,
approve? Yeah.
I think I
Oh,
would, I
I'm
would
sorry.
like to, just to discuss with the sheriff eventually on that, the two additional vehicles.
We will have that placed at the, we need a
Last
second.
item.
Are you
No, the vice mayor may move that to the end of the agenda. if he
Okay.
wishes.
Yeah, end of the agenda is fine.
Okay, and so would a member of council like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with that proposed change?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the modification suggested by Vice Mayor Irwin.
Thank you, Councilor Overholzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Item B is a fun one. We are recognizing the retirement of Mr. John Glover. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Mr. John Glover, who's retired after 30 plus years as with the city. Such a pleasure to work with in my time that I've been here. And so he will be missed greatly. So thank you so much, John, for your service. Does anybody in the back want to come up and say anything about John?
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Oh, Rodney, I know.
Oh,
you have
Rodney, I
something to
see you.
say.
Nice things only.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mr. Glover, I wish there were a vote required on this one. Otherwise, it would be.
And Mr. Miller would like to speak as well.
Oh,
Queue up, it's okay.
Um, Madam Mayor, thank you
Sir.
for this opportunity. I've known John for 21 years since I first came to Staunton, and I'll say he's been a pleasure to work with. He works hard, he solves problems. He will be greatly missed, and we look forward to seeing him around town. I hate to lose him as the building commissioner. Thank you, John.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rhodes, good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening with you. And it's a pleasure to thank John Glover for his work with the city. I've worked with him for about 9 years. And I would note that it was really helpful to have a building official that knew a little bit about zoning, because he was a zoning administrator at one time. And that's very helpful to the planning side of that division. And as far as his skills when it comes and his knowledge about the building code, I'm not sure how great that was, or if he was just blowing smoke these past 31 years. But he is really good with working with the public. And I think when you get into this line of work, that's the most important thing, to be able to work with the public and come up with solutions to the challenges that you face. And I will miss you, John.
Miss you.
Oh,
Thank you.
wonderful.
speech.
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody, city council, staff members that are here, and citizens. It's been a pleasure to work with you, with everybody. 99.9% of the time, there were some days, you have to admit that, but it's been a pleasure to work here, and the city has treated me very well. So, and I will miss a lot of the people, and solving some of the problems I solve now at home are a little different. So anyway, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think, sir. Yes. Pull something for you, then.
Something for your wall?
Yeah.
So certificate of appreciation to John W. Glover and appreciation for your contributions to the department, to the betterment of the city of Staunton. The city hereby awards this honor. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
We're gonna miss you a lot.
All the best.
All the best.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, congratulations, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on up
Yes.
for pictures. Yeah.
Please, yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, he needs to be embarrassed for sure.
Kind of disappear under the chair.
Do you want us to get out of the picture for you guys, or are you gonna?
Should we
Okay. First, Jasper, can you look over here, buddy?
Thank you. All right, take it one more. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys.
Have fun. Have fun, Amanda. All right. All righty. Well, before we continue, I apologize. I wanted to make sure to recognize we have our Stanton City Council here, City Council. Our Stanton School Board is here this evening, so welcome. And the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Irizarry. And we have our sheriff is always here. Is Aaron still here? And Aaron, there he is. So welcome to everyone who's here this evening. Thank you for being here. Important part of this assembly. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. We are moving on to item C. We have several public hearings this evening. So we'll start with item C, a public hearing in consideration of a request by William McAllister to rezone 1110 Churchville Avenue. Ms. Beauregard.
Tim Hartless, our planning manager, is here this evening to go through this item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council.
Mr. Hartless, good evening.
Pleasure to be here with you this evening.
Wonderful to see you.
As you said, this is a request by William Ken McAllister to rezone 1110 Churchville Avenue from B1 local business to R3 medium density residential. This property was originally platted in Augusta County as part of the Staunton Park addition. It was annexed into the city in 1948. The structure on the property was originally constructed and intended to be used as a single-family home. At some point, it was converted to a business. I was unable to determine exactly when that happened, but I know that it has been the location of Warner Insurance since at least 1997. Mr. McAllister acquired the property earlier this spring, and his intention is to use it as a single-family home. Business zoning does not allow for residential use on the ground or basement floors, so a rezoning is necessary in order for him to do that. Staff has reviewed the request. If the rezoning is approved, a building permit will be required for change of building code use group from B to R. Surrounding zoning is R2 low density residential, R3 medium density residential, B1 local business. This particular property has been identified 2 different times over the past 10 years by staff for potential rezoning from business to residential. Those were both mass rezoning efforts that the city was undertaking. And both times, the property was removed from the final rezoning list at the request of the then owner, Warner Insurance, because they were using it for business purposes. Now that Mr. McAllister has purchased the property, wishes to use it for residential, staff feels that it would be an appropriate time to rezone it to residential. The city's comprehensive plan, future land use map designates the area as commercial. While that designation is not supportive of this particular rezoning, the comprehensive plan also supports the rezoning of existing non-conforming residential structures to, that are currently zoned business to residential. The This particular building has been used for commercial, but it was originally intended to be a house, and its highest and best use likely is as a house. Furthermore, the draft comprehensive plan, which we anticipate would be adopted later this fall, future land use map designates this area as mixed use, which is consistent with this rezoning request. At its meeting on June the 18th, Planning Commission conducted a public hearing, during which time no one spoke in opposition, and the commission unanimously recommended approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have either now or I can come back after the public hearing. Mr. McAllister, our applicant, is here, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have for him.
Thank you, Mr. Hartless. Do we have any questions for Mr. Hartless or for the applicant? Would the applicant like to speak before I open the public hearing? If you would like to speak, sir.
Yeah, I would just like to say this house, like Tim was saying, was a residence for many, many years. And then Warner Insurance, so I knew them very well. They put their insurance business in their area insurance, really nice people. And I used to go in that building because I knew them. And then they sold the business and they moved out and actually put the property on the market about a year ago. And I intend to use it as a residence. I actually was in the insurance business at one time, but I'm retired now. So it's kind of ironic I'm getting this building and I'm not going to start selling insurance over there. I'm not going to do it anymore, but anyway, I did it for a long time. But anyway, so yeah, it's gone through the proper channels. Tim has done a great job with the research. The Planning Commission passed it. And so now it's up to you guys to go ahead and approve it.
Thank you very much, Mr. McAllister. All righty, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. In a moment, I will open the public hearing. This for item C. The hearing provides an opportunity for citizens and others to comment on this specific agenda item. You may only speak once on this item, but you will have the opportunity to speak in future public hearings and during matters from the public. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and we ask that you limit your remarks to 5 minutes. I will notify you if your time expires. For those joining us on Zoom, please raise your hand now if you wish to speak. We will alternate between speakers in the room and those participating on Zoom. As a reminder, comments should be limited to item C. And once everyone who wishes to speak hasn't had an opportunity to do so, I will close the public hearing. If you would like to speak on this public hearing, please approach the podium or raise your hand on Zoom. Mr. Knight, is there a hand raised?
Madam Mayor, we have no hands raised.
Would anybody like to speak? All right, this public hearing is closed. Any more deliberation from council? Any more? All right, then I will entertain a motion on item C.
Madam Mayor,
Councilor Campbell.
I move that council adopt the ordinance and approve the rezoning as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilor Woods. It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Ms. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blair. Item D is a consideration of a resolution authorizing the adoption of FY 2026 Annual Action Plan for the City of Staunton. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, hi, Rebecca Joyce, the city's housing planner and grant coordinator, is here this evening to walk through this item and answer any questions.
Good evening, Mayor and council members.
Good evening, Ms. Joyce. How are you?
Okay.
Good.
This is the time of year where we put together our annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant Entitlement Program. It's basically our grant application to receive our annual funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Mm-hmm.
During this process, we look at two main objectives and goals that we have. The first are the national objectives of the Community Development Block Grant Program. Activities must benefit persons with low to moderate income, and at least 70% of our funds need to be spent dealing with that. The other national objectives are preventing or eliminating blight, and there's a 30% cap on that funding. And then an urgent needs category, when health or welfare are threatened. That category typically is not used by communities very often. We also have goals that we follow from our last 5-year consolidated plan, and that runs from 2024 to 2028. And those were the goals that we came up with as a community for how we want to use our block grant funding. The first goal is to improve access to and quality of housing, to provide public services, to improve public facilities and infrastructure, and to eliminate slum and blight removal. This annual action plan that you all have in your agenda packet covers our next fiscal year, which will start in October and run through September 30th, 2027. This year, our allocation from HUD is $304, which is actually a $5,507 increase from last year. So we're happy about that. To create the plan, we had a meeting of staff to talk about what projects and activities we would like to pursue. We had 2 public hearings, one in May and June, and a 30-day comment period from June 10th to July 10th on the plan itself. We did not have anyone attend the public hearings, and we had no public input from the 30-day comment period. How we've decided to divide up our programs for this year, we will spend 15%, which is the cap, the most we can, on public services. That would be $48,492. We're going to spread that between 6 organizations. They will be getting around $8,082. Those organizations are Blue Ridge CASA, the Blue Ridge Legal Services, Valley Mission, Valley Program for Aging Services, their Meals on Wheels program, and their Senior Transportation program, and then Valley Supportive Housing. And in your packet, it goes into much more detail about those. The other part of the money, the biggest pot of the money is going to structural projects, and that's $210,000 and $152. Of that money, $70,152 will be put aside for the city to deal with anything related to blight removal that we come across. As part of our housing side of things, we will be conducting a windshield survey over the fall to look at any kinds of land that maybe is in disrepair, but maybe with some help could be put back into housing stock for the community. The other 2 projects that we have are a little bit newer this year, and we're excited about what's going on. We're giving the Staunton Redevelopment and Housing Authority $65,000 towards their project at the Dunsmore Business College. That is a revitalization project, and they are turning that building into 15 units of affordable housing for seniors. Our other project is with Renewing Homes and Staunton Augusta Waynesboro Habitat for Humanity, and we're splitting $75,000 between both of those organizations. The exciting part about that program is both organizations are working in a wonderful partnership together now. And as far as the rehab and repairs go for people with lower incomes that are seniors or people with disabilities, we're able to use some of the donations and price reductions on materials that Habitat is able to get, and they are helping Renewing Homes with some of their repairs and also providing staff to help with those. Recently, with this past year, just with the use of their discounts for materials, we were able to save $20,000 of the block grant money. Instead of having to go into materials, could go into serving more people. So we're real excited about that partnership. We partnership heavy with that, both of those organizations and the Housing Authority as well. We also will have the usual administration line item, and probably everybody on the third floor knows how grouchy I get about all that paperwork. So, and that is a 20% cap there. If the plan is approved tonight by you all, we will submit it to HUD very soon. And that will again take place the new year on October 1st. I'm glad to answer any questions anybody has.
Questions from councilors? Mr. Overholtz.
Madam Mayor, you mentioned the windshield survey that's going to be happening
Yes.
this fall.
Yes.
So has that been, that's a critical piece
Yes.
for blight removal and for supporting housing stock in the
Yes.
city that's been identified for some time.
Yes.
And are you saying that's funded now and scheduled?
We're working on those things. You all had a presentation from Anna Levitt, our economic mobility person, and we're working with the Virginia Tech Housing Center. We're hoping to have some of their staff with some students from Virginia Tech come up here and do some of that work. I know she's also talking with the Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission to help with some of the data for that too. So I think we're full speed ahead on that. Anna graciously took that off my plate, so I've tried to stay as far away from it as I can. Any other questions?
Currently, how are you identifying blighted homes? Just neighbors calling in? I mean,
Right now, the community development, the building officials, and the property management staff, they have a list of houses that already are some questions to the standards and things like that. So we're starting with that, but we really having this inventory will give us a good chance to see what the overall condition is. Are there neighborhoods where more work is needed, or is it more of a piecemeal individual kinds of houses and things? So that's what we're going to really rely on to come up with our plan and program. And we'll certainly keep you all updated with that. And with the Housing Commission, that group is also helping us work on that.
well, I know you had a lot of competing needs, I'm sure.
Yes, yes.
So, but this is a solid list to me
Yes.
that all of these are excellent groups. And I want to thank you for the work that all
thank
of you and your office did on this.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mrs. Joyce before she sits down?
No, I just want to thank you for so carefully going through it all. I know the HUD money ends up being like, when you want a full blanket, you're given a hand towel
Yes.
instead. So you try to cover as much as you can with as little as possible. But it's good to see it spread between some local organizations and some city needs as well.
Our main focus is housing, and that could be either preserving housing stock or creating it or helping with housing stability. So we try to spread everything over the gamut. It's not a lot of money that we're able to give the different nonprofits, but they really do appreciate what we give them. So I'm glad to do about that. And then if you all could pass the resolution if you're so inclined.
If you don't ask,
Yeah.
He is grouchy sometimes.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Joyce.
Sure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right. Any,
Mayor Edwards?
Yes, ma'am.
There's no other.
if there's no other
I
questions
don't think there's a
or
line of
any
objection.
discussion?
Yeah.
All righty. Then, yes, Counselor Woods. Here somewhere.
Okay, I move that the city council approve the attached resolution authorizing adoption of the FY 2026 annual action plan and authorizing the city manager to execute the sub-recipient agreements and associated documents with agencies recommended to receive the HUD CDBG funds.
Thank you, Counselor Woods. Is there a
I'll
second?
Second that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Miss Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholtzer,
Aye.
Miss Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair.
And just to be,
Yes, ma'am.
cause a little bit of a problem here, I'm going to overstay my welcome a minute. I did inform the city manager and Chief Ball that I was going to slip into the other agenda item very quickly. But we're getting ready to talk about the Central Shenandoah Hazard Mitigation Plan. And prior to my employment with the city, I worked with worked creating that original plan and the two updates that follow that for about 18 years. So I feel like it's my baby, and I have had to pass my baby on. And so I did get to see the new version, and Chief Ball will go over that with you all, but I was very pleased with it and just wanted to let you all know that it's a very important document that the city is part of. Certain FEMA grant programs that happen after disasters, you're required to have one of these hazard mitigation plans in place. So it's one of those things that when you really need it, you don't want to have to try to create it and pass it. And we've had one now since 2005 that covers all the 21 regions or 21 localities that the PDC serves. So it's a really important thing to be a part of. And as I told the CSPDC staff, I feel like I've passed my baby on to a kindergarten and they've let go of my hand and are, running into the building. But it's in good hands, and I just wanted to let you all know I've reviewed it, and it definitely has my seal of approval. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Joyce.
Not sure how we redo that introduction.
All righty.
Thank you, Ms. Joyce.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Joyce. Moving on to item E, consideration of approval of the 2026, as Ms. Joyce said, Central Shenandoah Hazard Mitigation Plan. Ms. Beauregard.
So Fire Chief Jason Ball is here this evening. And after that amazing introduction.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, right. He will answer questions for you. No, he will
No,
walk through this and answer any questions, of
When
course.
Rebecca emailed Leslie and I, this is her baby. Before the city took her, she did the base of it. A lot of credit from the city side also goes to Sharon Angle. She led the way on this the last 2 years, attending the meetings with the input. That is hard to follow.
But you're going to do it.
Now, as she said, this plan was originally adopted in 2005. It is required for the jurisdictions to adopt it every 5 years. Number one, to be able to apply for any FEMA grants. And number two, to request assistance in the event that we do have a disaster. In order for us to call on FEMA to get reimbursed for anything, if we meet that threshold, we have to have this plan adopted. As I said, it was over the 2-year period. There were 8 natural hazards and 4 human-caused threats that were evaluated on local and regional capabilities for the 5 cities, 5 counties, 11 towns, and 4 special districts. The development of the regional goals and jurisdiction-specific mitigation actions you should have in your packet or a copy of. As you saw, the ones specific to Staunton, I feel that I made notes on each one. I feel we're doing a great job. The SAW emergency operations plan was January 2026. The CERT, that is coming up in September through October. Josh has pushed that out. The educational campaigns, the individual disaster preparedness. When we go hand out our smoke detectors, we give them a pamphlet to say, are you ready? Do you have your action plan? Along with that, and it gets into it a little later, we hand them the QR code for our Everbridge for folks to sign up. So I feel like we're doing a very good job. To go back to Mr. Glover, he was a spearhead on the flood resiliency, the studies in the Lewis Creek Asylum. Willow is obviously right back on that now. The IPAW, back to the emergency alert, IPAWs, Josh and I have worked together on that. Now we're able to geofence anyone in the city. If there's a hazard, we can go into our Everbridge system again and reach, regardless of whether they're from California or Maine. As long as they're in the geofence, we'll be able to reach them. And Rebecca was hard to follow. So
That's really cool. So you said you had 2 alert systems. One is the Everbridge, and now it's graded so that you can actually reach anybody who's in this geofence.
Yes,
So
we can
this-
reach anybody, any resident, regardless of
Or-
where they're
or
from,
any
as long as they
visitor.
have the cell phone,
Uh-huh.
we can
Wow.
get them.
That's fascinating. And then was there another type of alert system that you said, or was I not following?
That was just the Everbridge.
That's the
Yep.
Everbridge with the upgrade. Wonderful. So everybody has a safety plan?
The ones that we have talked to going
Have
up
a
and down the
safety plan.
streets, when we're handing out smoke detectors, they do.
And
It
how-
is in their
yeah.
packet.
And how many smoke detectors do you think you guys gave out?
We were pushing, depending on how many blocks we walked, we were
Yeah.
pushing probably 30 couple. We reached the houses. Some did not want us to come in. We
Yeah.
asked if we could hand them one
Yeah.
or change their batteries.
Right.
But there were few and far between the ones that we were knocking on their doors. It's gone very well.
Excellent.
Adam Dolan deserves a lot of credit for that. So
Wonderful. Do you all have any questions for Chief Ball? No? Thank you for looking out for our safety, Chief Ball.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything you do.
Madam Mayor.
There's no, okay, I was gonna say, is there a vote? There-
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion. Yes, Counselor Overholter.
I move that City Council adopt the 2026 Central Shenandoah Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Arrowood. Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Spark,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Moving on to item F, Mr. Blair, the item F, we'll continue with item F and then.
And then item G will be.
Item G, we'll add item G, got it. So item F, a consideration of resolution authorizing a referendum on November 3rd for an additional 1% sales tax for school construction and or renovation projects. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, Jessie Moyers, our Chief Finance Officer, has a short presentation that she will give, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Ms. Moyers. How are you this evening?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council.
Wonderful to see you.
Good to see you.
There.
So before you tonight is a resolution to authorize a referendum that the city voters will vote on that could impose up to a 1% sales tax. And that sales tax would be dedicated to school capital projects only. This is authorized by state law. It was in the 2026 biennial budget this year and is now part of the Virginia Code. Like I said, it's up to 1% sales tax. It does exclude groceries and essential personal hygiene items. It must go before the voters. It's renewable up to 20 years. Revenue is used for school construction, like major capital projects or renovation. The funds are required to put into a separate city fund. It cannot be used for any existing debt service, but it could be used for future debt service if it were to be issued on a project. This would be step one, the authorization of the resolution, and then it would be sent to the circuit court. The judge would order the ballot, and then it would go to the voters on November 3rd. If it was passed by the voters, then council would adopt the ordinance. Oh, sorry. So currently, the sales tax rate in the city of Staunton is 5.3%. 3.3 of that is the state base, 1% is the state's education base, and then 1% is returned to the localities. If the referendum were to pass and we add 1%, it takes us up to the 6.3, with the 1% being set aside for school construction and renovation. On the right is just to show you that the 1% on the groceries and the hygiene items now that the city receives, that will remain at 1%, and those items will not be subjected to the additional 1%. So currently, The 1% that the city receives, this is the historical values for the last couple years. It's estimated to be about $6.4 million in 26 and 27. But that is not what this 1% will equate to, because you have to remember it's not on food, groceries, that is, or essential hygiene. So we did our best to estimate what it would be. The data is not available, unfortunately. And so the commissioner and I worked together to determine what it would be. We're estimating about 15 and 20% of the sales tax collected is for groceries and essential hygiene. The 15% estimate is about 960,000. If you subtract that off the 6.4 million, it would bring in about 5.4 million. Using the 20% estimate, it's about 5.1 million. And that is really all I had to go over with you, and we can go into discussion, questions.
Can you go back to the slide you just came off of? Estimated revenue from additional 1%. What is the 15 and 20% again?
So we have to estimate how much of the sales tax we collect now is on groceries and hygiene. But unfortunately, we do not have that data from the state to know exactly. And so we're estimating about 15 to 20% of the tax revenue we get now are from grocery stores for grocery items and hygiene items.
So estimated revenue from the additional 1% is equal to maybe 5.4 million. And that's 15%. If it's 20%, it's 5.120.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're estimating anywhere from 5.1 to 5.4 million.
Okay.
Ms. Moyers, if this is added to the regular November election, there's no additional cost. Yeah, like if we did a special referendum on this, there would be a cost associated with that. So this is just going along into the regular election, just a question on the ballot.
Yes, that's correct.
And part of this is that we can do up to 1%, but we can also do any.
Yes,
Send it
the
down there
language
as
in
well.
the state law is up to 1%.
And that decision is made following a successful referendum.
Okay.
Correct.
Open it and then afterwards. Okay.
So that if that decision is made in November, it would be July 1.
It would go in effect 120 days after
For
the
the ordinance.
sign of the council approving the ordinance.
And could that be immediate, Mr. Blair, according to this timeline? Let me see, where are we? Prepare ballot referendum. Okay. So it could be that following month. Is that right?
So I think you'd want certified results.
Mhm.
Then after that, the council may adopt an ordinance. And after the ordinance is adopted, it's 120 days from that date. However, it could be a little longer because the statute provides that it occurs on the first day of the month. So let's say, I don't know when the December meeting is, December 12th or something, and you were to adopt an ordinance hypothetically. 120 days from that might be April the 12th. So the collection would not start until May the 1st. It's this ordinance, the statute says that the collection starts on the first day, the closest first day of the month after 120 days.
I see.
And sales tax usually runs about 2 months behind. We get it 2 months after it's
Okay.
collected.
See.
And a part of the point of this measure is to sort of spread the load for school funding, not just to fall on property owners, but that visitors would help bear some of the cost because they make purchases in the city of Staunton. Do we have any, I know we don't have any precise measures of this, but based on the data that tourism collects, do we have any sense what proportion of our sales tax revenue comes from out of city visitors?
The Commissioner of Revenue would have the sales tax data. It's confidential information, so I do not have that. And I don't know if she would have it by where they live.
They wouldn't collect that data, but I mean, just based on whatever we know about numbers of visitors to Staunton, that's a
I
person.
know tourism
I guess we
has-
don't know.
I know tourism has just some high level
Right,
estimates
right.
spending per visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more that wouldn't capture with all the interstate pass-through traffic, and just Augusta County and other regional local residents shopping in the city. So
So, Jesse, Ms. Moyer, since we were talking about, obviously, this is money for school construction, which is extremely important thing that needs to be funded. And there are a couple of ways we can raise funds, raise revenues, and the biggest way is real estate tax. And so as we have property prices going up, assessments going up, raising real estate tax becomes problematic. So I wonder how much would we have to raise the real estate tax, would we have to raise the real estate tax in order to equal what would be brought in by this 1%, 5 million? Can you do that in your head?
Well, Dr. Irizarry already asked me this question.
15 cents.
15
Is
cents.
it 15
It's about
cents?
15 cents if you don't take into account that the funding formula, 53% of that goes to the schools. But if you take the little over 5 million and you divide it by our 1 cent property value, it's 15 cents.
It just seems like a lot of bang for the buck, without having to raise real estate tax.
Right.
Vice Mayor Arrowood?
Yeah, I mean, it's also great because it allows the people who like to visit Stanton to help fund our school.
yeah, I think it's a tremendous opportunity to, I don't know if it's going to get us ahead of the curve, but certainly help catch up with everything, all of our needs. I think the school's current CIP unfunded was over 150 million, and I think the city's unfunded CIP was approaching that. So I think this is a significant amount of revenue that can really help the city moving forward.
So just to put that number in context, just with some Googling I did, maybe you can hold me accountable for this number. But compared to the 150 in needs, CIP needs for the school district, the amount of debt that you could raise based on 5.1 million, 5.1 to 5.4 million in annual revenues generated by this tax is about 67 million. Does that seem, based on 20-year debt and 4.5% interest rate? So that will make a dent in the school's needs, a significant dent, but certainly not cover all of it. But it's a big
Yeah, I
help.
think interest rates are different, but I think our current debt is 76 million approximately now. And I think it's 5 point something debt payments a year. So yeah, it's almost, it could potentially double our debt capacity.
It's also a selective tax. It doesn't hit. I mean, when you hit a real estate tax, everyone lives somewhere and that hits them. If you rent it, the landlord passes that on to you typically on this, but this skips groceries and necessary hygiene items on that. So it's more selective. I think it's great.
Yeah, I can say, this is not a direct number, but just to kind of address Jeff's question a little bit. I know just from our store, which will be 13 this summer, probably half of my sales are from out of towners yearly. So this is why I really support this, because it does help share the load and get them to help pay for our schools and take some of that burden off our citizens. I think it's great.
I did have a question. I did get a question. I think all of us had the question of whether or not it counted, whether restaurants would be counted in that. And I just want to make sure everybody knew that that's a separate tax completely, that will not raise the meals tax, in case that was in anyone's mind as well.
I feel like it
will be on
Sales
top.
tax
It'll
is
be on
part of
top.
the meals tax. Yes.
Thank you. I'm so glad
It
I
is
clarified
the
that for
sales tax
myself.
plus our meals tax equals the total rate.
Yeah. So it will.
So that was going to be my next point.
That was
I wanted to.
Then I was very confused. So thank you for letting me know. I have to email that person back.
Yeah, if you add the two numbers.
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
If it's prepared food, the
That's
grocery
different.
store.
That's the
Right.
grocery part of
Right.
it. And that's already lower. That's only
Alrighty. Then I
2.3%, I
misunderstood.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the thinking in the state legislature in exempting groceries and personal hygiene,
Yeah.
those are essential. Those are essentials. But if you go out to eat at a restaurant,
Yeah.
that's discretionary.
Remember, meals captures a lot of tourists and out of town people too. So that's again, another thing like sales tax,
True.
lodging
Yeah,
tax, it's
keeping it
capturing
up.
folks that
However,
live here
a
necessarily.
concern I have about that this applying to meals tax, and the legislature doesn't give us any option to exempt restaurants from this. It's either all or nothing. Is that we are already at the high end. Stanton is meals tax compared to other localities. And so this will add, essentially, it'll make it 8%. We're at 7% meals tax. So the 1% will apply on top of that, 8% for people purchasing meals, eating out in Stanton. So it's something we may want to keep in mind that in looking at the meals tax rate, possibly making an adjustment there. But I heard a report recently in a VML committee, the Virginia Community and Economic Development Policy Committee, and there was a report from a restaurant lobby saying that many restaurateurs are sort of right on the edge right now because of rising costs, gasoline, tariffs, and they asked cities to be sensitive on this question of meals tax and whatever impact that we could have on their costs, because some restaurants are, and I've heard from some local restaurants about this as a concern. So that's one point point of awareness that I wanted to raise. And
Thank you, Mr. Overholter.
nonetheless, I do support this, and I think it's a great way to give the schools a revenue stream that is much needed.
Before I ask for a motion, I just want to thank Counselor Campbell for his hard work and dedication. He, as a liaison to the school board, he has kept this in front of all of us. He has educated all of us, and he has really pushed this. And I really commend him for his work on this. And so thank you for your work. Thank you, Adam.
One other interesting point of information, sorry.
It's okay. I thought I was about to make a motion, but it's okay. Go ahead, one more.
Augusta County and Harrisonburg, or Waynesboro and Charlottesville have already enacted the sales tax for school construction. Augusta County and Harrisonburg have not so far, but it looks like 10 total localities have implemented this already across the state.
It's good to know when we're talking to our voters, because we don't have to make that decision until they do. So
Yeah, this puts them in
that's
front
a,
of them.
that's a good thing, right?
They
So
voted
that's
to
why
allow
we're-
their citizens to vote for it.
Yes, we're not voting for this tax. We're letting the citizens decide.
So there will be a lot of communication and education of the public to make sure that
Yes.
everybody knows what's going to come up on the ballot and what we're voting on. So any other comments or questions for Ms. Moyers before I ask for a motion? I will entertain a motion concerning this 1% sales tax.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt the resolution as presented and authorize the city attorney to take all necessary actions to request that the Stanton Circuit Court place the referendum question on the November 3rd, 2026 ballot.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Arrowood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Miss Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. All right, we will move on to item G, a consideration of a request by the Stanton City Sheriff to fund the purchase of 2 additional vehicles. Ms. Beauregard,
Sheriff Hartless.
all right.
Let Sheriff Hartless take the lead on this one.
I could. I actually, I apologize. I didn't warn you that I wanted to pull this up. We're adding 2 vehicles to Mr. Hartless's fleet if we pass this on. And
Yes.
you reached out to each of us separately on this, and I just wanted to. A big part of what we do is carefully spend
Absolutely.
dollars on this, and you made a very good use case to us about increased execution of duties requiring vehicles, transportation on that. And I just wanted to give you a chance to articulate that
Sure.
publicly.
Sure, absolutely. So I've actually, to that point, I've actually got some updated numbers as of yesterday to that regard. Vehicle wise, in talking with procurement just yesterday, a base model Police Explorer is up to 51,000 right now. And total upfit, police equipment, lights, all of that being installed in that vehicle is running somewhere between 20 and 22,000, including labor and parts and installation. So that puts us at 73,000 for one vehicle. To your point, Mr. Airwood, our increased travel for these transports, which do not include transports from Middle River Regional Jail. These numbers do not factor those transports in. We are right at 15,500 miles that we've traveled just this year, just since January. And that breaks us down to, that adds, just from the time of my request, my formal request to council, that adds about 3,000 miles within a month.
And that's higher than it has been over the last.
It is. We are at about, with that updated number, about 64% in 6 months of our total 12-month transports from last year. So we're over half, and we're just now hitting the 6-month mark within this year. And we're not seeing any slowdown based on what the courts are scheduling. And we have some detainees that we're going farther for now who are traveling farther, appear to be traveling farther, and we end up having to go further to get them. That's a nutshell of the numbers as of yesterday.
At one time, you were proposing or considering the use of hybrids as replacements.
These in particular are not. This particular organization did not have any hybrids that were or appeared to be of any usefulness or much usefulness left based on what we were seeing.
Because you're looking for used vehicles. Is
Yes,
that correct?
yes,
Right.
ma'am. These are used vehicles. These are 3-year-old vehicles, but they
Yeah.
have, for the age of them and with the equipment that's already pre-installed, they're the best bang for the buck. And it saves the city. We're all, as Mr. Airwood pointed out, we're all conscious of the city's money and all of our tax dollars. And these 2 vehicles at the price and with the equipment that's installed saves us right about 54% based on these updated numbers compared to buying 2 brand new and having to upfit.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. And I don't know if anyone else has any questions on that. I just wanted to show we're not arbitrarily adding vehicles to your fleet.
Sure,
This is
absolutely.
your actual use case within execution of duties. So
Yes.
I'd be.
I will entertain a motion. Vice Mayor Arrowood.
Madam Mayor, I move to grant the request by the Staunton City Sheriff to fund the purchase of 2 additional vehicles.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Arrowood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilor Woods and Councilor Shepherd. Is there any discussion? Nobody? Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Miss Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Miss Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sheriff Hartless. We're now at matters from the city manager, Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Edwards. I just have a couple of things. Tomorrow, everyone is invited to a dedication of African-American church markers This is hosted by the Stanton Augusta County African American Research Society. This is at 2:00 tomorrow at the Augusta Street United Methodist Church at 325 North Augusta Street. So please come and join in that. And the second item I have, sorry, is on August 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. is National Night Out. That's a Tuesday. That's at the Staunton JDR Court located at 2020 West Beverly Street. And there will be demonstrations from the Staunton Police Department and Staunton Fire Department. So this will be an evening of community conversation and fun. You can come out and see emergency vehicles from the police department, the Staunton City Sheriff's Office, Virginia State Police, Staunton Fire and Rescue, and the Staunton Augusta Rescue Squad, and more. So that is Tuesday, August 4th at 6 p.m. at the Staunton JDR Court on West Beverly Street. And that's all I have this evening.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Beauregard. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Actually, Saturday. No, tomorrow.
Yep, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Thank you. What's today? This takes us to our final item, matters from the public. This portion of the meeting is set aside for council to hear comments from citizens and others on a wide variety of topics. A copy of the Staunton City Council's Matters from the Public guidelines is available in paper form at the desk, by the side door, and online on the City of Staunton's website. We ask that you please familiarize yourself with those guidelines before speaking. If you would like to address council, please come forward to the podium or raise your hand on the Zoom platform. When it's your turn, please state your name and address for the record and limit your remarks to 5 minutes. I will let you know if your time expires. As a reminder, this is a time for council to listen. If you are seeking a response or a follow-up to a question or comment, please speak with the city manager, Leslie Beauregard, or a member of city council following the meeting. Would anyone like to approach the podium and speak to city council or raise your hand on the Zoom platform?
Madam Mayor, members of council, my name is Aaron Farmer, 204 East Beverly Street. So since I last joined everyone here at Matters from the Public, my life has become a matter of public record. It's become painfully clear to me and probably everyone in town that we live in a news desert. But my personal trials and tribulations are rather beside the point. There are people that suffer because of what they look like or because of their disabilities with a lot greater dignity even than I have. So this one goes out to them.
In town this side, there's no place to hide. Everywhere you go, you meet someone you know. You can't steal a kiss in a place like this. How the rumors do fly in a town this size. In a smoky bar, in the back seat of your car, in your own little house, someone's sure to find you out. What you do and what you think, what you eat and what you drink. If you smoke a cigarette, if you're talking about your breath, in the town this side, There's no place to hide. Everywhere you go, you meet someone you know. You can't steal a kiss in a place like this. How the rumors do fly in a town this size. Oh, I had a fight with my girlfriend last night. Before the moon went down, it was all over town. Oh, you made me cry. Always says goodbye. If it's true or not, doesn't seem to count a lot in a town this size. There's no place to hide. Everywhere you go, you meet someone you know. You can't steal a kiss in a place like this. How the rumors do fly in a town this size. In a town this size. In a town this size.
And the last thing I'll say is that I think the referendum is a fantastic idea. If anything, it's going to get Staunton in the habit of referendums because we need more public democracy and in this town, not less. We need more press freedom in this town, not less. And we need more transparency and accountability in this town, not less. I'm going to be voting yes on the referendum. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. Mr. Knight, do we have a hand raised on Zoom?
Madam Mayor, we have no hands raised.
Would anyone else like to address council? Mr. Knight,
No hands.
Staunton City Council meeting is adjourned.